in
Already?
I'm judging. You hoped the bear.
Yeah. Ka-chow. Hey fam.
Welcome back or to Night Watch.
I'm Rylie.
And I'm Ella.
And this is our third episode of the Night Watch.
3 episodes.
Go watch the other 2 if you haven't already.
They're very good. Well, one of them is really good.
Okay. Today is the True Crime Night.
True crime. And we got to do it at night. Obviously. You can't do a Night Watch podcast involving true crime
Without it being night. Let's do it.
That's not how it works. So today we will be covering Gene Harris and the murder of Herman Tarnower. So basically, Gene Harris was born in Cleveland, Ohio. In 1923.
Already.
Can we just start there? Who was born in Cleveland and doesn't grow up to be a little cuckoo?
Not judging.
I'm
kind of judging.
I'm judging. I'm judging. You don't get born in Ohio and just have a normal life. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
no, it just doesn't happen. So, with that being said, her family was extremely wealthy. Growing up, big house, very open space, modernistic, minimalistic.
I mean, for being 1920.
And being 1920, chandeliers type of. They use drapes instead of curtains type of. They use rich. Yeah. I forgot how much money they made, but it was they were millionaires if they were in our time. So
that means a lot.
They had money. They were her family were really devout Christians, and they were really strict. Which, I mean, at that point, you can be a Christian family without being strict and mean. I mean, my mom is Christian. We all believe, we go to church. She's not mean, and I still feel I could talk to her. Gene Harris, she never really felt like she could talk to her parents. Just because they were so strict, they didn't talk about things. They weren't really open. They didn't have open conversations. Which, I mean, you should be able to talk to your parents even though you're religious. So starting there, that's also a red flag as well. No child should feel like they shouldn't be able to talk to their parents.
Yeah, I feel like it would be really hard for a kid growing up to feel like they can't even talk to the people they're supposed to be the closest with, which is really hard.
Yeah. For sure. But she was a really good student, and she loved art. She was really good at it. She loved language, English, she loved writing, and she was always really good at it, and she always had amazing teachers who she felt like they could look up to and talk to. And at this point, this is when she said, I want to become a teacher, which is when your kid says that, their teachers are good.
Yeah. I feel like you don't say that unless you have at least one amazing teacher. I think everyone can agree that there's always been that one teacher that
at least made it cross your thought, mine, to be I want to teach.
Yeah. I've had that thought. I don't know about you.
I definitely have. I've had that one teacher. I'm
you make me want to be a good teacher,
an educator.
You.
Yeah. And shape kids' minds and be that person that kids can look up to.
Yeah.
So she had a lot of those growing up, which I think is also really good considering the fact that she couldn't really talk to her parents.
She could talk to teachers.
So she had her teachers that she was always really close with. And so, yeah, she graduated from Smith College, and she had a future. She had everything set up for her. She had a plan laid out, and she was going places for sure. But she ended up marrying her high school sweetheart, which, I mean, 1 time out of 10, it works out.
Yeah, I feel like you grow up so much from when you're in high school to going through college is just, I feel like I've heard so much about it being such a different experience, and it really changes you as a person.
And, like, everyone experiences it differently, too.
Yeah.
Like, no one can have, like, they can have the same experience, but they can never have the same experience because everyone has a different mindset about it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know? I don't know if the mics picked up on that, but the baby was just screaming, and that was really funny. Yeah, so she had a future, and this part was really funny. This was pretty real. She was like, she goes, my dad didn't like him because he was so quiet, and he kept to himself, and we didn't have matching personalities, and that made me want to marry him more.
Opposites attract.
That, and also, like, when your parents say don't date this person, you're like,
it's like almost like another stepping stone that's like, I kind of want to now.
It, like, makes it like the movies, basically.
Pretty much.
You know?
Your dad doesn't like the guy, but you love him.
Basically. And she later said, honestly, I only married him because he kept quiet and he knew when to shut up, unlike my dad.
That's insane. That's insane. Because, like, imagine being like, like, everyone, like, I've heard so many people say the phrase, like, you date someone like your dad. Like, you like, tend to migrate towards people like your dad.
You just gravitate towards that.
Which is really funny in her case, because she quite literally, like, wanted to go the opposite way.
She said,
she married
I didn't like my dad because he didn't shut up, so I married someone who knows to shut up.
Like, that's amazing.
That is so funny.
Real.
That's the best part in this whole story. Hands down. And I could not let myself leave that out.
No. That's hilarious.
No, it was so good. Yeah, so she ended up marrying her high school sweetheart, Jim Harris. And, yeah, they definitely had opposing personalities. She was very outgoing and artistic. And he just wanted to settle down, do his thing. He didn't really have any ambitions. Which, that makes sense. Like, if I had an ambition, if I wanted to go out and do something, then it would be nice to know that I had a husband that would drop everything to, like, just settle down.
But at the same time, like, I disagree, because I feel like I would really have a hard time being with someone who just
doesn't want to do anything.
Doesn't have a dream for themselves. Like, you're telling me as a kid you did not dream of being a firefighter. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think I could ever date someone that's like that, because I don't want someone to drop everything for me. I want them to have their own dreams, because I would drop anything for them.
Yeah. I think, for me, this is going to sound really selfish, but I do not care. For me, I want a guy with so many dreams and so many ambitions, and has just, like, a whole life planned out, and then I want him to drop all of it to support me. To just say, you're right, you're more important, your ambitions are more important than my well-being.
Wow. That's something.
Call me selfish.
I'm calling you selfish.
That's what I want. I need a man to drop everything for me. I should be the only thing he thinks and cares about.
What if you have, like, a
other
pet?
Than kids, but also a pet.
You were thinking a lot farther than me. I was like, a pet, and you're like,
I said kids.
Well, okay, what if, like, your kids don't want, like, scenario. We're getting into scenarios, guys.
Okay.
What if you're living in Ohio? Let's put this in perspective. And you're living in Ohio, and your husband and your kids, you have 2 kids. Boy 7, girl 5.
Okay.
And they're like, I love my friends at school. Like, I don't want to move. And then your job, like, you got this, like, amazing position on what you wanted in Florida. Like, wouldn't you feel bad? Like, your kids would have to move.
I wouldn't do that. I would be the person that's like, nope, I will literally fly out or drive to Florida every day for this job. Or I would do, like, online type of thing. Because if it's a good opportunity and I'd be making bank, then it's a good opportunity to be making bank.
Yeah, but it would be hard because, like, you would never spend time with your kids.
Yeah.
The scenario is crazy. Like, we're just totally going full depth.
I would, like, sit down with them and my husband and be like, this is a good opportunity.
Don't ruin it for me.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd be like, if you don't want to pick up right now and move, that's fine. I understand. If you don't mind living in Florida versus Ohio, come on now.
Maybe they just really like Ohio.
Buddy, who likes Ohio?
Okay.
But in that case, I would just have a sit-down conversation. If they were like, well, we have a pretty good life set up here, then I'd be like,
okay,
I
bye.
Understand. No, I'd be like, I understand. And I would, if I couldn't do, like, an online type of thing, I would turn it down.
Okay.
Like,
okay, you're less selfish then. You're just, like, a little less selfish.
Just a chisel.
Just when the kids get involved.
I care about my kids more than my husband.
I mean, isn't that how it's supposed to be, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
What's she up to?
Yeah. What is Jean Ayres
What's Jean up to? What's she pick?
So, Jean had 2 boys, I think. 1 or 2. She had kids. With, what was his name? Jim. She had some boys with Jim Harris. And then they ended up getting a divorce. So she had to pick up oh my god.
I hope you guys are okay.
I am not cutting that out.
Okay.
So a little after they got a divorce, she also got a good job in Philadelphia, I think. I don't know. I think it was Philadelphia. She moved around a lot. She got a lot of jobs. So I think this time it was Philadelphia. I don't know for sure though. Long story short, they ended up having to move away. Her and her kids, and they didn't really talk about Jim after this. Like, we never really heard much from him.
So we're guessing he left the kids.
That's what I'm guessing.
Made her a single mom.
Yeah, with full custody.
Wow.
Well, they went to court, and I'm assuming she just got full custody.
Maybe she shouldn't have.
Oh, we'll get there. She should not have gotten full custody. So
I don't know. Like, disclaimer, I have no idea what this story is. Like,
we have a little idea, but
I have a barely
a little baby summary.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah, well,
so I'm with you guys right now.
Yeah, well, so basically she had to pick up and move her kids to Philadelphia, and then she started talking to Herman Tarnower, who was a heart surgeon.
Dang!
Yeah.
She went straight for the money. Again.
Well,
I mean, she was raised that.
So, like, after she was divorced for a couple years, and she was having talks with her friends, and she freaking called it, man. She said, I wanted a Jewish, well-respected doctor, like, with money type of...
So she literally, like, pondered.
She pondered and thought about it, and she was, like, said something about why she wanted Jewish, because they're more respectful, and they just have a sense of religion. And they
But she's Christian.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I'm like, yeah, that's interesting.
That's interesting that you would, especially growing up.
You want a Jewish man?
Especially, like, growing up in such a strict household where...
Like a strict Christian household
where religion was, like, everything. And then, like, growing up and being like, I want a Jewish man. It's kind of weird.
Which is even weirder. This was, like, 1967.
Yeah.
Is when he proposed. I just jumped forward a lot, but, like, that was the year that he proposed. So, like...
Do you know how long they were together before he proposed?
Not long at all. I think they were maybe dating for a year.
Oof.
Yeah.
And for her to also already have been divorced, has 2 kids.
And then just jumps in a relationship because she's like, no, I called it. I have a Jewish
heart surgeon.
now. So this is exactly what I
go
wanted.
her.
Yeah.
Right now. We'll see.
Like,
later.
Right now, she's going after it, man.
I mean, get it. You gotta put the food on the table for the kids.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. If you're gonna foreshadow a Jewish heart surgeon, well, a doctor, a rich doctor, and you find one,
you take it. You grab
take that
it.
opportunity.
Take the opportunity that God has put in your hands.
Alrighty.
Preach. Okay, yeah, so in 1967, Herman proposed, and then, like, she just impulsively said yes, without thinking that she had to pick up her kids and move again.
Where did he live?
Virginia, I think.
So, she was living in Philadelphia, met this guy in Virginia?
Something like that. I don't think he lived in Virginia, actually. She ended up moving to Virginia later, but he did not live in Philadelphia. Like, he was about to get a new job in another state, and they would have had to pick up and move again. And then she was, like, sitting here thinking, now I have to move my 2 teenage sons again.
And with a new guy, which is already hard for kids to process.
Yeah.
Like, we both get it. Like...
Yeah, with divorced parents, and, like, they just randomly bring another person. You're like, who is this? You're not my mom. You're not my dad. Like,
and, like, I guess we both weren't older, so we don't get it. But, I mean, teenagers, I feel like it would be a lot easier. I feel like the age gap is, like, when you don't remember, so, like, 0 to 3, and then, like, you're teenagers, like, that's when you don't care. For when you don't remember when you're a kid, and then teenager, you're just old enough. You're like, I have like 3 more years till I'm out of the house, anyways.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also like at that point, like if my mom was like, we're picking up and moving to another state, I would be sad. Like I have a lot of friends here. I have a life here.
Yeah, I guess, especially being a teenager, and you've been there for
your whole life, basically.
Like pretty long time.
They were like 7.
So they've, I mean, 100% grown like to love.
Like the people that they're around, like they've been like grew up here basically. They got used to it. They have friends. They have a life,
Yeah.
So she started.
That can be hard.
Yeah, so she started thinking. It was like, shit. Now I have to move these 2 teenagers to another state again.
Yeah. A little hard.
Yeah, and then a week later, Herman sat down with her and was like, I can't do it. He was like, I just can't do it. Like, it's just not going to work. I just can't do it.
What?
Yeah, and never explained why.
That's odd.
Mm-hmm.
You would think, if anything, she would
say, I can't undo this because I have children.
Yeah, like, and he didn't have kids? So, like, she literally... What? What is his reasoning? What?
That's just where I was, like, baffled.
But, like, you wouldn't propose... If it was about the kids, like, about, like, oh, I don't want to date someone who already has kids. Like, okay.
Then he wouldn't have dated someone.
Yeah, he wouldn't have dated someone, and he wouldn't propose.
He wouldn't have proposed.
What?
Like, yeah, that's where I'm like, Herman, what is this?
Yeah.
Who do you think you is?
I'm confused. I'm with her, bro. What do you mean?
Yeah. So, after that, Jean was like, alright, they're still dating. They were still dating. After that, they didn't break up or anything. They were still together.
I feel like I would break...
I would.
I feel like
if he was like,
someone.
I am taking back my proposal,
I'd break up with him.
I would break up with him.
Because if you don't want to take the next step, what makes you think, like, we can stay here?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we can never take the next step.
So at this point, they're, like, long distance. They call, like, once a week. They'll see each other, like, once. They'll call, like, twice a week and then see each other, like, once a week. Type of thing.
That's not horrible.
No. But it's not great. They didn't have cell phones back then, so they couldn't stalk each other. You know, like, they couldn't see each other's Instagrams. They couldn't text. All they could do was talk twice a week. And, like, or technically 3 times a week because they would see each other, but, like,
yeah.
Outside of that, they would call, like, once or twice a week.
Fair.
So, that's when it gets iffy. So Jean resumed her career in education, and she became administrator at a female academy outside of Philadelphia.
Outside of Philadelphia?
Yeah, like right outside.
Mm,
So she probably just had to wake up earlier to drive.
that's fair.
To
Because
work.
it's still in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
I mean,
like close. Later, I think they moved to Virginia, or either they moved to Virginia or her sons have already graduated because they were teenagers. So I'm assuming they'd already graduated. But she moved to Virginia and became headmistress at, I'm not even going to try to spell
Madiera School for Girls. If we butchered that name,
I apologize.
sorry.
I apologize. That one.
In Virginia.
In Virginia. And then this is when it gets real great. Jean began her drug use in 1980. She was complaining of like back pains and being depressed. So, the prescription drugs weren't really studied very well in the 80s. They didn't really know what was going on, so they basically gave her meth.
Oh.
So she got addicted to meth. That's what that is.
Okay.
Yeah. Which didn't help her depression at all. And since her heart surgeon husband, or boyfriend, whatever they are, is long distance, that gave him so much time to go sleep with whoever he wanted.
Oh, so she's doing drugs. Like, she doesn't fully understand that she's doing, like,
meth.
Yeah. But she's prescribed these drugs that
she
thinks
very
is
addicted
helping.
to.
Yeah,
Yes.
she thinks it's helping. But she's
like
addicted
chronically
to them.
depressed.
And then her husband, her boyfriend.
What? You know what we mean.
Is going around sleeping with other women. Oh,
Yeah.
she gonna go crazy. I already know.
That's what I said, bro. Reasonable crash out. She's on drugs and her husband is sleeping with other women. What do you expect is gonna happen?
So,
it gets crazier. So,
how is it getting crazier?
she still doesn't know about the sleeping with other women part. So at this point, they have their weekly meetup. They sit down, they chat, they go on their date. And he proposes that they have an open relationship.
I thought you were going to say he proposed again.
Oh, no.
I was like, no, okay.
That would be kind of funny.
That would be really funny. She's like, crazy. He's sleeping with other women. And he's like, again? And then a week later, goes back on it. Again.
Sorry, can't. I still want to sleep with other women. Then go sleep with other women. That's what I don't understand.
Have a great time.
So she says yes.
What?
Yeah. She agrees to this open relationship while she's on meth and super insanely depressed.
Well, okay.
Like, when I say she was depressed, I mean, like, she had, like, her coworkers were noticing, her friends were noticing, like, they didn't know whether they were going to see happy Jean, sad Jean, angry Jean, like, tired Jean. They never know who's going to show up at the door.
Okay, but I can see where, like, she's been with this guy for a while, right? So I can see where, like, it's almost like an attachment. And she's also really depressed. So
yeah, like,
it's like
really depressed.
Like, it's like an ultra attachment because, like, you're already like, I'm losing all these people. Like, you know, like
at this point, the only person I have is my boyfriend.
Yeah. And
We've all been there.
And, like, it's like one of those things that's like, I have to stay with him because he's my only connection. So yeah. She's, like, doing anything to be with him, which he obviously proposes an open relationship, and she's like, obviously down.
As long as it's a relationship.
Yeah, she's like, as long as there's the word relationship in it, I will always be fine. So, yeah. That's my opinion.
No, I totally agree, because, like, if you're attached to someone while your mental health is low, you is attached to that person.
Yeah.
We've all been there, I think. So that happens. And she slowly starts descending in her madness. Because she's like, he's literally sleeping with other women and she knows about it.
And yeah, and it's like, it's not even like she catches him cheating. Like, he's AKA, like, allowed to cheat. Like,
yeah, she literally just let him go cheat. And she doesn't either. Like, she never slept with other people.
I will never understand open relationships.
Like, if you want to go sleep with other people, then just don't be in a relationship and you can go sleep around.
Yeah. Like, I don't get the understanding, like...
You can be a slut without being a whore. You can go sleep with whoever you want, but you could also do that without being in a relationship type of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like
we don't judge.
I do.
Okay, Rylie.
But, I think that if you're gonna be in a relationship, it's like, I don't know, like, I'm just putting it, I'm, like, a very perspective, like, person, I think you know this, but, like, you know, your wife's at home cooking you dinner, and you, like, come home and you're like, oh, the girl I met tonight, like, you know, like, I don't know.
She just went crazy on it.
Like, you're like, oh, the movie love's ready, honey. Like, he's like coming in and he's like, oh, I had a crazy night. Like, Miranda was like what?
Miranda hit me up.
Like, I don't even know how that works.
It's so weird.
And how do you just sit there and be like, really? Like, no.
Me too.
No. Look at my Jeffrey tonight, though.
He really gave it to me. Oh, so weird.
Goodness.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Inside joke.
Inside jokes. Yeah, so that is just a whole crazy thing. And she, like,
I can go on and on about that.
We could literally talk about this for hours. And so she's, like, sitting here, like, day by day, she's like, oh, he's with another girl. That's weird.
Did she really think it was weird, though?
She didn't think it was weird. She just got really jealous really fast. And...
Fair! I think that's valid.
She started getting calls.
From the girls?
We don't really know for sure, but they were just like, you don't please your man.
So it's from the girls.
I think for sure. It has to be, but it was never really confirmed. We never found out who actually gave her the calls.
It was the girls.
Yeah, I think it was from the girls, guys.
Believe it or not, I think it's from the girls.
Right. And so it was like, you don't do your job, like, literally just, like, being so nasty and saying these rude things. I don't, like, the only one I really heard about was, like, you're not doing your job right, like, he's gonna leave you, this is why he wants an open relationship. Like,
ugh.
Yeah, and like,
I would hate getting those. Like, going to work.
She would just be sitting there on the phone, listening, and they would just go on and on, like, for an hour.
Ugh.
And she was just sitting here listening. Why didn't she hang up? If I got a call, it was like, you're going to... I'd be like, alright, bye, bitch. like,
real quick.
Not my problem. I don't care. I don't know you. Why are you telling me this? No caller ID, what? Like, it's so weird. So, she started thinking it was like his main, his assistant. It's always the assistants.
Always. And then he...
Whatever, I've worked. Okay, so she started thinking it was like the assistant. So she called her and was like, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't really like, no. She was like
the girl.
She was like, why are you so mean to me?
Yeah.
Because, you know, she was on drugs and depressed. Like, she was upset. So obviously she's gonna call and be like, what is going on? And it got so bad to the point where Tarnower was like, called her and was like, you need to stop harassing her. And she was like, she started it!
Yeah. But at this point, like, she didn't 100% know.
She didn't know. We don't know. I don't think it was that one specifically. You know? I think it was the other ones, but it was a big thing, and it drove her crazy. And she got really jealous.
Well, what did we see coming?
obviously, like, people were calling her, harassing her, like, threatening her, and she was on drugs, and, like,
yeah,
you know, she wasn't doing good mentally, or, like, at this point, physically.
Yeah. I mean, she was on meth.
She was on meth. She was skinny. She wasn't eating, like...
Yeah.
So, her side of this part of the story, like, what she was telling the detectives is, like, are you sure that's what happened?
She was on meth.
So, she drives to his apartment, or his house, or whatever, with a loaded gun. And so she drives there. She said that she wanted one last night with him, like one good night with him, and then she was going to go to the park and kill herself.
Okay.
So, like,
okay, so there's where the loaded gun comes in.
Yeah, so she was like, I have a loaded gun. I was like, I want to just go in there and have one more intimate night with him, and then I was going to go kill myself in the park.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
So this part is what's also strange. She drives up, she loads the gun, brings it into the house with her. Like, it was in her purse.
Okay, that's odd, because
you would just leave it in the car? Yeah, right?
Like, if you're gonna, especially unless the park's, like, next door, which I don't think it is.
But, like, even if it was,
you leave it in the car.
Like, showing up to his house, like...
That's just a threat as is.
Like...
You know.
Yeah, and it gets crazier. So she comes into the house, and she goes in the apartment. She, like, lets herself in. And, by the way, it's, like, late. It's, like, 1 a.m.
What?
He is asleep. So she goes in, flicks on the light, and then, obviously, he wakes up, and he's like, what is this? What are you doing here?
Yeah.
And then
as you should.
She, like, just started talking. Like, just making conversation. Type of thing. And she just, like, sits on the edge of the bed. He is half awake and probably pissed, for one.
It's the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's, like, the middle of the night, and he's a doctor. Like...
He probably already works, like, good amount of hours.
Like, a solid amount of hours where he's like, I want to go to sleep. It is my bedtime.
Yeah, valid.
Like, my bedtime is my bedtime. So he's just, like, half asleep, and the lights are on, and she just sits on the edge of his bed and just starts talking. And
that's him. I would just be like, go home. Like,
he got livid. He, like, turned around and was like, oh my god, Jean, shut up and go home.
Wow.
But, like, that's
valid. I
can't. like, if you just showed up at my apartment and, like, turn on the lights and start talking to me, I'd be like, Rylie? Either go to sleep or go home.
Yeah, like, turn around or get right here. Like we're not
turn the light off, point blank, period.
Exactly.
It is late at night. I am eepy. It is bedtime.
Exactly. I agree.
So he was over it.
As and then, should be.
So she was like, oh, how could you say that to me?
Like, what?
Yeah, like, what did you expect, girl?
You're yapping it up in the middle of the night. And he was asleep.
Yeah. As is.
Okay, it'd be a little different if he was like, watching TV, like, awake.
And then was like, shut up. Then I would be mad.
Yeah, then I would be a little mad. But
you woke him up. You
abrupted the bear. Yeah, you abrupted him from his sleep. And for all
abrupted his slumber. He could have a good dream.
Yeah. For all we know, he's a deep sleeper, and she had to, like, shake him awake.
Right.
Like, for all we know.
Because we can't get his side of the story.
We're not there yet. That's wild. We can't get his side of the story.
So they start arguing, and he punches her.
This is her story.
Yeah, this is her story.
Okay.
So, like, he punches her. They get pissed. Like, and then he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean it. And she's like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Turns out they have, like, set days to where he brings out his mistress's stuff and sets them up, and when he brings out her stuff and sets it up.
What do you mean? Elaborate.
His, like, servant lady would put Jean's stuff away when it wasn't her time with him. And
so, like, if she bought
out,
him something, like, for his house, like a painting or something.
Yeah, well, no, she has, like, her clothes, like, some clothes that she has there, and she has, like, her shampoo.
Yeah. So then the mistresses wouldn't know that he has a girlfriend.
Basically. Or that they would just wouldn't get mad. And so, since it wasn't her time there, she walked in the bathroom. Some other bitch's clothes were laying everywhere. And
so that was just like a snap.
Yeah, she was like, oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
So she runs back, gets in his face, screaming, like, getting pissed off. He punches her again. Like,
again?
Yes, again. And she, like, reaches in her purse with a loaded gun. And then...
How is it loaded?
This is, like, when it gets really iffy. She said that she pointed at her head and was like, I'm just gonna kill myself then. And then he tried to grab it, and they were wrestling. And she accidentally shot him in the shoulder.
No.
Because...
When
the autopsy report came in, the shot was going down through here. If they were fighting, a shot in the shoulder would be going that way.
Because if you're like here, like I'm Jean, and like here,
and I'm like, then it would just go. It would
go like that. It would go like that.
This is like a
like
type of like you got to be like position. Like he had to be on the floor, type of bang bang.
Yeah, or she's just like tried to shoot him in the head, but kind of like he kind of knocked her, and then I don't know.
It's like there's no way.
Yeah,
like that's so strange. And then, so he's like on the floor, I guess. And he, like, doesn't know what to do. He was like, there's a bullet inside my shoulder.
Valid.
And so he, like, starts trying to clean it up. And he gets really calm. And then she's like, I'm sorry. And points the gun at her head again. He tries to take it again. They are, like, wrestling on the bed. And she said that they were, like, wrestling and she felt, like, the gun, like, in between them. And she thought it was pointing against her stomach. So she pulled the trigger. It wasn't. It was pointing at him. And so, like, at this point, he was really dying, like, of bleeding out.
And it was his stomach that got hit?
Like, his stomach and his shoulder. So, like, there's no way he didn't hit, like, a large artery. So he's, like, bleeding out, and she's, like, freaking out. And the servant comes in, because she heard gunshots and fighting. And so she's, like, calling the cops and was like, yeah, this crazy lady did it, Jean.
Oh.
Yeah, so she's, like, sitting on the bed, like, freaking out, like, trying to, like, help him, like, sobbing, like, doesn't know what to do. Cops get there, question her. And they take it, like, they couldn't save him because he bled out. By the time they got to the hospital, he fully bled out because he had an artery.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And, like, that is just so insane. Her side of the story does not make sense at all. Like, how did she not go in there with the intention of killing him?
Also, when a gun, like, there's the back of the gun is a lot thicker and longer.
Yeah, you would feel it.
If it was against your stomach, like the front of it.
The barrel, you would feel the barrel against your stomach.
Like, especially if it was pushing. Because they were wrestling, so I would think it was pushing a little bit. Yeah. You would definitely feel that. But if you,
also the trigger, if you push the trigger versus pushing it that way, like, you know what I mean?
Use your brain.
Like, if it's against your stomach, you'd have to push it that way, and if it's
against your stomach, your hand would be this way.
Yeah, it would be like that, versus, like, while this guy is, like, on top of you wrestling you.
Yeah, you wouldn't...
Like, you wouldn't be able to get that grip.
No.
Because, like, this is a big dude, too.
Really?
Like 6 feet tall.
Big? Or, like...
Like, tall, like, big. Like, he's a surgeon. I mean, he's a doctor, so, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. And second of all, she walked in there with a loaded gun. And it turns out even crazier. The autopsy, there were 4 shots.
What?
There were 4 bullet wounds.
And she talked about 2.
She said there were 2. And she later switched up her story and said like, after the two shots fired, it missed both of them. Like, she thought it missed them, so she went to the bathroom to go reload the gun. Yeah. So, first of all, why would you bring the loaded gun? And second of all, why would you have extra bullets to reload the gun? If you were just gonna...
Yeah, because it's hard to miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But at the same... her story is just not adding up. Where were the bullet holes? Before. Two in his shoulder, two in his stomach? Or leg?
I think, like, one in his shoulder, like, maybe one in his... I don't remember. I should look it up.
One in his shoulder, one in his leg. Like...
Okay.
We cut
How
this out.
many times was... What's his name?
Herman
Tarnower. Four times.
Search up where?
And that doesn't even say. Okay, so it doesn't say, but she claimed that it was only two.
But there was actually four.
There was actually four.
And then switched up her story, which is just always a red flag.
And they switched the story. Like, if you're gonna make up a lie, you have to stick to it. Like, deny.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, you're just
gonna get caught. You're digging yourself a hole, you're gonna get caught. And
like, as a jury, she admitted to it, too. She was like, I did shoot him, but I wasn't intentional. Like, yeah, but you're crazy and you're addicted to meth and you shot him. So,
sure.
Guilty.
So why do you think this is a valid crash out?
Because she was on meth and he was cheating on her. And she was depressed.
My point of view...
Obviously, she shouldn't have killed him. Like,
I think...
Like, if her intentions are real and she was like, I did just want to have one last night and then kill myself. As she was on, like... She was on meth and depressed and he was cheating on her, so I'm like, yeah, well...
Yeah.
If that was really the case, which clearly it's not.
So, my point of view is...
bleeding.
I feel like she stops being the victim the moment she says yes to the open relationship. I think that's because if she would have killed him before she found out about the cheating, it was just like she was depressed, meth. I could see that more.
Yeah.
Being like, she's psycho.
But
like, she needs to go to the mental hospital.
But it was also the fact that she, like, was also getting those calls, too. And that's what really set her over the edge.
Yeah,
And then he blamed it on her and was like, stop harassing my assistant. Even though, like, Gina's supposed to be the girlfriend.
Yeah. Huh.
You know what I mean?
I don't know, though. Like,
that was weird, too.
I agree. I think this whole
story is just messed up. And,
I agree.
There's a lot of
small things, I can see
unfilled gaps.
I feel like where she would get mad, like, I could see where she can get mad in some of these situations, but I think she took it way too far. I think she meant to... We're putting opinion in this. I think she meant
She definitely had intentions to kill him.
Definitely think she had intentions to kill him.
Or kill herself in front of him to, like, traumatize him.
No.
Yeah. It could be either one. She definitely wasn't planning on going to the park.
But I definitely, when she got there and when she saw the clothes, she 100% was not thinking of killing herself. Which she still tries to claim, but she, like, after that, I know damn well she said,
she switched up, she said, as a brat, I'm killing this man.
Yeah. Like, no way.
No way.
And it's just like, I mean, yeah, he was a horrible guy, period.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, I kind of knew from the moment he, said, took back his proposal. Like,
yeah, that was a major.
That was
if someone
that was bad on her part
like,
for not saying bye-bye.
Screw you, I'm done. If you don't like, you can't propose to me and say that you don't want to marry me anymore.
No.
A week later, like.
And but like,
I also want to. Yeah.
Yeah, like, no. That's
like also the open relationship after that too. No.
That's when you go, heck no.
I'm dipping.
Yeah. And I think personally, I think that a lot of it was her mental health and her attachment. I definitely think that was a lot because, and I know most of the reason why people stay in like open relationships when they even, like when they don't want to, is because of attachment. So like, sure. I could see,
like I get the attachment.
And she also had a lot of problems.
She had so many mental problems. She probably should have gone to counseling before killing someone. Just an idea. I think if you feel like
counseling that big then?
God knows, 80s.
Exactly.
The only things that were big was drugs and big hair.
Like you said, like you were there.
I say it like.
Yeah. I was. Oh, this episode was crazy.
It was definitely a longer one.
Yeah.
I think the murder ones are going to be longer ones.
Yeah, I think y'all are going to have to get used to that one.
Suck it up.
We're funny. Suck it up. Half of this story probably could have been told in like 20 minute stops.
Probably. And we definitely got sidetracked.
But I think that makes it better.
It does.
So, thank you guys for watching this episode.
Definitely comment down below what you think like was true about Jean's story. And like do you think her story was true?
Comment down below if you there's any more details that we missed
or any other murders that you would like us to cover.
Yes, that's a big one. Follow us on Instagram, it's in the description. Follow us on TikTok, it's in the description. Yeah. Check out our other videos.
Check out other videos. Subscribe, like, tell your friends.
DM us or comment down below any other video ideas, murders you would want us to cover, anything like that.
Big shout out to our sponsor, Colin Leno Insurance. Thanks for giving us money. Go check out his insurance. If you need car insurance, whatever.
If you live in Utah, Montana, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, go check out
Colin Leno Insurance for all your insurance needs.
Ciao. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. Bye, fam.